Are the Bucks back? Is the sun setting in the West? And where should your money go in the NBA Finals? All that and more on Heat Check, presented by BetMGM and the Action Network. I'm Action Network senior NBA writer Matt Moore, joined as always by Chris Raybon and Raheem Palmer, as we've been battling through some tech issues, and apparently I can't speak. But tonight we're going to be giving you all the best information to bet Game 4 of the NBA Finals between the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll get you sides, totals, props, everything on the board, the best way to bet the NBA Finals tonight on Heat Check. A reminder that everything that we talk about tonight is available in the Action Network app, which you can download on your mobile device right now. It's the best way not only to track your bets, but get great information, as well as get information on the money sides, what our models say, all of that and more on the Action Network app. You should check that out right now. All right, fellas. So Game 4 tonight, Bucks come roaring back in Game 3. We got some series exact prices on the board. Suns in the gentleman's sweep is plus 325. You got Suns in 6 at plus 350. Suns in 7 at plus 225. So they're expecting this to go long. Bucks 4-2 is plus 500, and Bucks 4-3 is plus 500 as well. Should be noted, we talked about on the Action Network pod last night with Raheem and Brandon Anderson about how actually that Bucks in 6 number was higher and has moved back down. Raheem, I'm taking credit, and I'm going to say that we moved the line. Chris, I want to ask you, when you look at those exact series prices, do you see this being a long series, or do you kind of bend more towards this going either 5 or at least in 6? Do you think there's a chance that this goes 7? Where do you think this kind of series lands up as we go into this Game 4?
Well, I do think this series goes long because the Milwaukee Bucks have, despite, all the criticism of Mike Budenholzer, they've gotten better as series have progressed this postseason, after the Miami one, which, was a piece of cake for them. You saw them come on strong late in that Brooklyn series to win 4 out of the last 5. And then, they started off, splitting with the Hawks, even though they had home court advantage, and then they ended up winning in 6. So I do think that this series goes long. I think Suns 4-2 is probably the one that strikes me the most. And then the Bucks in 4-2 or 4-3. And because the reason is, I saw an interesting tweet from Nylon Calculus, Tom Bassine from Nylon Calculus. And when the team went home court, no matter the sequence of which they go up 2-1, they're about 85% to win the series dating back to 2003. So that would be implied odds of minus 554 for the Suns, plus 554 for the Bucks. Now, even if you think the Bucks are a lot better than your average, team that goes down 2-1, that there's still a huge discrepancy between most of these, exact prices and the series price in general, and that, minus 554 number. So I think that I'm still going with the Suns here. And to get the best odds, I would take the 4-2 if I had to pick. Or just take a long shot with the Bucks in 7.
I like that. I especially like that you quoted Nylon Calculus, as I actually started that blog. Raheem, I want to ask you, when we look at this, at the value on this, I can't go Bucks in 6 because I can't see them winning 4 straight. I've already got positions on the Suns in 6. So the only one I think that has value on the board is plus 500, Bucks in 7. I can't see the Bucks winning 4 straight. We talked about this a little on the pod last night. Do you see that as a viable situation? I guess here's a question. Is Suns in 5 or Bucks in 6, which would be a pretty radical outcome either way? Do either of those seem likely to you based on what we've seen?
I think Bucks in 6 makes more sense than Suns in 5 to me, just because I just don't see the Suns winning tonight. I do think this is a series in which we could see the home team win every game on the way to Game 7. So I think that's where the value lies.
Okay. All right. I can see that as well. Let's get into our best bets for the night. These are our big bets, the ones that we like the most, either a side, a total, or a prop. Raheem, we're going to start with you. What is your best bet for the evening?
I'm going to go with the over 220.5. When you look at the 5 games between these two teams, including the regular season and 3 games in the NBA Finals, 4 of the 5 games went over. And you have point totals of 249, 255, 223, 225, and 220. None of these teams can stop each other. My model makes this game 222, so I think you have a small edge there. I think you're looking at some positive regression from the Suns offense that really didn't perform up to expectation in game 3. So they put up an offense rating of 103.1. That was their 5th lowest. And, some of those games where they had bad offensive ratings, Chris Paul was hurt. Devin Booker was a little banged up. This was just an outlier shooting. I mean, you had Devin Booker going 3 for 14 from the field, 1 from 7 from 3. You had Chris Paul going 1 for 4 from 3. That's not going to happen again. And then more importantly, this Suns defense cannot stop Giannis, and they can't stop other guys driving to the paint. They're last in opponent field goal frequency at the rim. So I think the Bucks continue to drive into the paint, and when you drive into the paint, you know what you get? You get free throws. The Bucks have shot 24 and 26 free throws over the last couple games. I think that continues here at home. That's what I like. I like the over.
Okay, we'll come back to this when it comes around to my bet. Chris, let's go to you first. What do you like tonight?
I think this is the spot you got to take the Suns plus 4.5. First of all, Phoenix coming off a loss, 19-6 straight up, 18-7 against the spread, regular and postseason, best mark in the NBA on both accounts. In this postseason alone, 3-1 straight up and against the spread, coming off a loss. And then you just look at what happened last game with Milwaukee. You could see that coming. You know, down 0-2, they're going to come home and they're going to throw a haymaker. But there are some outliers on the Bucks side as well, even though I think they did some good things adjustment-wise. Number one, DeAndre Ayton had 5 fouls in game 3. That's the first time he had more than four fouls all postseason. The Suns are 5-7 regular and postseason combined. When Ayton commits 5+ fouls, gets in foul troubles, they're 57-19 straight up when he commits 4 fouls or less. So I think this is a toss-up game. I think the Suns, it's about 50-50, maybe a tiny edge to the Bucks because they're at home, but I'm not laying the 4.5 with the Bucks. I love taking the points with the Suns. You saw Holiday shoot 5 out of 10 from 3. Last game, he's shooting 30% in the postseason. Chris Paul turning the ball over at an uncharacteristically high rate. So even though the Suns had some things go right, Jay Crowder was lighting it up, I still think the Suns just have to execute better. And I think there's these huge swings that are going to be created if DeAndre Ayton just does what he normally does, doesn't get in foul trouble, and he's going to be able to play 40+ minutes. And that creates a huge swing because where the Suns really get in trouble is those backup center minutes because they don't have Saric anymore. And I never thought I'd be saying this, but it's, that can make a difference. I don't think the Suns are going to win those minutes, but if they can keep Ayton on the floor for 38 to 40 minutes, I think this is a toss-up game. I say take the points here with the Suns, who have been excellent coming off a loss all game. You saw Devin Booker just chilling, after getting pulled in that game. They didn't look worried, man. This is going to be a competitive game. Even if the Suns don't win, I think it's close. I think they cover.
So I'm in the same mindset as you. I like this game as to be close. That kind of came to that conclusion on Monday. Is kind of when I was like, I think this next game's gonna be a nail biter. Like I think this one's the one that's probably gonna be pretty close. A couple of things here. One, I've gone back and forth on why it is that I don't want to bet the Suns money line if I like them plus 4.5, because that's tight enough. It's like, why am I not just going all the way? Can you help me explain my thinking, Chris Raybon, and explain to me why I don't want to take the Suns money line here?
I mean, I'm just of the opinion, once you start getting past the one possession game, I tend to take the points. I mean, I'm not saying you don't bet the money line as well, especially if you have real conviction that the Suns are going to win this game. But I think you could split a unit 50-50, but you're talking about a possession and a half here, 4.5 points for a game that I think could be close. You could see a game be a one position game. The Bucks eke it out because they're at home. I mean, Giannis has scored 40+ in 2 straight, and the Bucks are still 1-1 in those games. Granted, they won the one at home, lost the one in Phoenix, but it's not going to be easy for the Bucks. So I do think this is a spot where you take the points here, and you could maybe able to get that win against the spread, even if the Suns lose the game.
I feel like this game in particular, even though it's basically just the same spread effectively as game 3, I feel like this one is just like, it feels very sharp from the perspective of there's not great value on taking the Suns money line where it's like you're clearly getting good value there. It's not high enough to feel super comfortable. I am betting Suns plus 4.5. I'm with you tonight. I do think it's going to be a close game. I can't really explain why I don't like the Suns money line, because usually I'd be like, you just got to go ahead and go if you're going to go that way, especially with the trends that we've seen in this postseason, that's been the trend, is that if the underdog covers, they win outright. And so like, you would think that's the value, but for whatever reason, it is one of those things I can't quantify. I do kind of believe that the bet bear value is on the points rather than the money line. I'll go ahead and circle back to Raheem's because I've got the under tonight. I'm going the other way from Raheem. There are some 221s on the board. It's still 220.5 juiced to the over. So clearly they want more money on the under here. They're more comfortable with that. They're incentivizing that, which makes me nervous. But look, the Suns' offensive rating on the road in the playoffs is 7 points lower. It's 117 at home, 110 on the road. It's a significant difference. Cam Payne is shooting 32% in the restricted area on the road. Not overall, at the rim, he's shooting 32% from the field inside the restricted area. That's a big differential. Cam Johnson basically goes from the greatest shooter who has ever lived to just a really good shooter, which is more of what he is when he's on the road. Drew Holiday had a really good game in game 3. I thought he was sneakily, just very quietly, a really good game. I looked up his performance after having a positive shooting game relative to expectations on Second Spectrum data provided to Action Network. He almost always follows a double-digit differential, which is what he had in game 3 with a minus double-digit differential. So I think there's probably going to be another Drew Holiday brick fest. And then finally, Giannis hit free throws last game, even if they're fouling him constantly, which they're going to have to do, especially because of the Saric trouble that Raybon mentioned. I don't expect Giannis to shoot well from the line again. We got to play the averages here. It's more likely that he's probably going to regress from the line. So the series has been below 100 possessions, about 97 in terms of pace. I think this is going to be a nail biter, which is going to make them want to slow it down more. I think Chris Paul is going to look at it and say, I got to stop turning the ball over. So he's going to grind it down. The Bucks defense remains very good. The Bucks offense, we know, can just fall off a cliff. I do not have faith in the Bucks offense to show up twice. So for the second game in a row, I'm taking the under. I like the under 220. What's your counter argument, Raheem? You got one?
Here's the thing. I have a few things. So one, if the Suns' offensive rating is so bad on the road, that's going to actually help the over because the Bucks got so much in transition. And that's why they scored so many points last game. So I think we're also going to see the Suns go small at some point because at some point they got to play minutes without DeAndre Ayton. And I think those are going to be the small ball units where we're going to see a lot of threes. And then if the Suns break out of zone, you're going to have wide open 3-point shooters. So I know nobody trusts the Bucks shooters, but they're at home, and I think we're due for a Chris Middleton performance. Drew Holiday. If you get a couple of guys stepping in to help with Giannis, I think this game goes over. I just really do. I just think it's too low.
I'll say one point on the zone before we move on. A friend of mine, Jared Dubin, passed this information along. The Bucks in game 3 had the best performance against zone by any team per possession of the last 10 seasons in a playoff game. So that you could say like they can bust the zone. They're really good at it. Or you can say they're probably due to struggle with it again because this is a Bucks team that struggles with good offense. Why would they be good versus a zone? We'll have to find out tonight. It should be exciting. I'm excited to come out and do a victory lap on Raheem Palmer later. All right, let's go to the wheel. We have a number of props selected tonight. Very special. We have a different player for every single one. We've prepped a different option for each player on the board, but we don't know which one we're going to get. Raheem Palmer, you're first up on the wheel. Are you ready?
I'm born ready. Let's go.
All right, here we go. And all right, Drew Holiday. What do you want? What prop do you want?
I'm going to go with the rebounds. I think the rebound prop is 4.5.
Yep.
I like Drew Holiday over 4.5 rebounds. I think I did this last week. I'm going to go to the well again. This is still priced as if he's just playing 32 minutes a game, but he's up to about 41. Look, he's hit this in 6 straight games and 8 out of the last 11 games. Since game 6 of the Brooklyn series, he's playing 41 minutes. Matt, if you like the under so much, that means that Drew Holiday is going to get rebounds. So I'm going over here.
Okay. All right. I got that. And Chris Raybon, are you ready for your prop?
Spin it.
All right. Let's spin the wheel. DeAndre Ayton. What do you like?
Ooh, I gotta kind of piggyback on Raheem with another rebound. His prop is at 12.5. I like the over. First of all, he's averaging 13 rebounds per game and 35.1 minutes per game this series. Again, I think, one of 19 postseason games has he committed 5+ fouls. Foul trouble is not the norm for him. Usually I know the game's in Milwaukee. I know we've seen what Giannis can do, but still, he's generally been good at staying out of foul trouble. I think he does again. And because the Suns, just got smashed on the boards, I think that's really going to be the focus of Ayton is, box out, make sure you get, all the rebounds that you can. And, I think he's going to have a big monster game rebounding the basketball. And he's going to play a lot more than 24 minutes, 24 minutes in game 3, 2 days off. I think that should be big minutes. No foul trouble, should be big minutes. So I'm going over 12.5 rebounds for Ayton.
Okay, so if you think he's going to get a lot of boards, the Bucks are going to miss a lot of shots. If you think he's going to play a lot of minutes, that means that he's not in foul trouble, so he's having a positive impact. Until last game, they won those minutes without when Giannis was on the floor versus Ayton. Now it's switched, and the Bucks have a slight lead. Again, Raybon, you sure you don't want that Suns money line? I'm doing this for you, buddy.
Hey, man,
you sure you don't want that Suns money line?
I'm just saying, I have a lot of respect for the Bucks after seeing, what they've done this postseason. So I feel more comfortable taking the points. I'll just put it that way. I think 4.5, it's low hanging fruit because the Bucks took a lot of money on the Suns, to win the series or whatnot. Now I think the value here is betting them in this game with the points. That's where I am. With
I have a question though. So at what point do you put a small percentage of your money line on the Suns? I mean, you don't have to put the whole thing. If you're playing, $100 units, why can't you just throw $10 or $20? Just, a small percentage of your wager on the Suns.
You absolutely can. And in some situations I would play it like that. But here I'm just kind of betting on the fact that I just think the line itself is mispriced. And I like that 4.5 point cushion. Whereas there's sometimes where, you have like a plus 150 or something like that. And you're just like, nah, the wrong team is favored. Like I fully think that the Bucks could win this game. But they have to win it, and then they also have to win it by 5 or more. Now you're giving me a lot of value toward the Suns. So I just think the spread offers more value than the money line in this instance. So that's my best bet.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, let's. I need to get my wheel going. Let's go ahead and spin it for me. Devin Booker. I have a fun one for Devin Booker. High scorer in tonight's game is plus 325. That's right. I get over 3-1 odds for Devin Booker to score the most points tonight. So he's had a bad series. Outside of game 2, second half, he's shooting 30% in the series. Yikes. But I will say he's getting pretty good looks. And PJ Tucker in particular, I don't think can cover him well. They seem comfortable with a lot of the coverage that they're putting on him. They've played Drew Holiday on Chris Paul more. They're mixing up those coverages. It seems like they're gravitating more to they're probably going to want to try and stop Paul because he's been so good against them. Booker's probably just due for one game where the shots fall. He's a tough shot maker. Here's the other one with Booker in particular. I went back and looked at in the Lakers and Clippers series when the Suns had bad offensive games, which is why I'm expecting tonight with that under, right? Like I'm expecting a rock fight. Out of the 3 lowest offensive rating games for the Suns in the postseason, Booker has been the leading scorer in 2 of the 3, with Ayton in the 3rd. So Booker at plus 325, I think is great value to be able to get an opportunity to get him in a bounce back spot. They're on the road. Usually when the whole team struggles, Booker tends to try and take over more. We even saw that a little bit in game 2 when he had that super nuclear second half. It was because the offense started to stagnate a little bit and Booker just went out and made a bunch of tough shots, which I think he can do. Some of this is just like, okay, he's due, yada, yada. But I do think the matchup will bend towards him at some point and that he is likely to have a performance where he just hits the tough shots. And especially, I like this most at the number. If it was anything, if he was even in the 200s, I would pass. But plus 325, I think that's great value on Devin Booker to be the lead scorer tonight, even with Giannis absolutely being just a monster in this series. I like Devin Booker plus 325. All right. In our final segment, it's an old axiom betting. You got to fade the public because supposedly you guys don't know anything, but you've done pretty well in our polls this year. We asked you another one. We asked you on Twitter, and this one's really fun. Giannis Antetokounmpo over under 0.5 3-pointers. It is juiced to the over, minus 200 for the over, plus 150 on the under for him to make a 3 tonight in game 4. The public has responded that it likes the under. Raheem, what do you think?
I'm going over. This is one of those situations where I think it's priced appropriately. They have it juiced to the over for a reason. Giannis is taking 3-point attempts every single game. This is not a situation where it's Ben Simmons, where he's refusing to shoot. Giannis is going to get his opportunities to knock down some threes tonight, because we know that the Suns want to keep him out of the paint, which means that at some point he's going to have open 3-point attempts. So I'm going over here.
Okay. The man that said that Giannis has no bag thinks that he's going to be able to hit a three. I see. Okay.
It's a volume thing. I mean, if you're taking opportunities and you're not like Ben Simmons, where you're afraid to shoot the shot, you have a chance. Like, what do they say? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. He's taking the shots.
Ben Simmons, who plays where?
Philadelphia.
Where are you from, Raheem Palmer?
He'll be playing somewhere else soon.
Chris Raybon, are you with the public or against them? Do you like the over or the under here?
I'm with the public. I like the under. Listen, Giannis Antetokounmpo has an open three all postseason every time he comes down the court. Like, this is facts. And he's hit a three in exactly half of his postseason games, 9 of 18. That's 50%. It should be even money. It's juiced to -200 to the over, +150 to the under. Value on the under. Bang it.
I'm going to take the under as well. I think he'll hit a jump shot, but not a three. His timing on these is always terrible too. It's like they'll be down 10.
Yeah.
And they'll be down 15 and cut it to 10. And that's when he's like, ooh, now I'm going to take the transition three. Or they'll have like just taken the lead and it'll be up by like 4 and all the momentum is turning and he'll throw up a three. And it's like, Giannis, no, like that should only be you're down 20 or you're up 20. In those, outside of those ranges is where you shoot the three, Giannis. Everything inside 20 points should be no threes for Giannis, as much as I think he needs it for the addition. I'll take the under as well. Should be fun to see. I especially, look, I'm getting plus money on the under on Giannis to hit a three. Come on. I get that. That's an obvious one. All right. Raheem likes the over 222.5 tonight. Go up against me. Drew Holiday over 4.5 rebounds. And he does like the over on Giannis threes tonight. A lot of faith in Giannis from Raheem to both put up scoring, and the Bucks are going to get rebounds and all these type of things. Chris, on the other hand, likes the Suns plus 4.5, maybe a sprinkle on the money line, but has a lot of respect for the Bucks. He's got DeAndre Ayton over on rebounds, and he likes the under on Giannis to make a three. I've got the under tonight at 220.5. I like Devin Booker to be the lead scorer plus 325, and I'll go under as well on Giannis to make threes. This has been a Heat Check presented by BetMGM and the Action Network. Make sure to download the Action Network app to track all of your bets. Enjoy Game 4, everybody. We'll see you again next week with another edition of NBA Heat Check.